Chapter 25 of the Plum and the Golden Vase, Chongzhen edition of the Embroidered Portrait. Wu Yunyang swings in spring and Lai Wanger gets drunk with the fairy. The word says, stop playing on the swing and get up to straighten your slender hands. The dew is thick, the flowers are thin, the sweat is thin and the clothes are light. When the guests come in, the gold hairpin slips out of their socks. He walked away shyly, leaned against the door and looked back, sniffing the green plums. It is said that the Festival of Lanterns has passed, and the Qingming Festival is approaching. Ximen Qingyu responded to the Count's early invitation and said that Sun Zizui was the host, and invited him to play in the suburbs. First, Wu Yunyang set up a swing in her garden. Seeing that Ximen Qing was not at home that day, he led all the sisters to play games to relieve the spring sleepiness. First, Yunyang fought with Meng Yulu, and then came down to teach Li Jiar and Pan Jinlian how to fight. Li Jiar said she couldn't fight because her body was too heavy, but she taught Li Ping'er and Jinlian how to fight. After beating her for a while, Yulu called, "Sixth sister, come here. You and I will play on the swing," he ordered. "Don't laugh." The two jade hands held the colorful rope and stood on the drawing board. Yunyang taught Huilian and Chun Mai to send each other off. Exactly, red-pink face to red-pink face, jade-crest shoulder to jade-crest shoulder. Two pairs of jade wrists are holding each other back and forth, and four golden lotuses are upside down. The golden lotus smiles together on top. Yunyang said, "Sixth sister, it doesn't matter if you laugh up there. I'm afraid you might slip and fall, and you won't be fooling around." As she said this, she didn't realize that the drawing board was slippery, and her high-soled shoes were not firm enough to hold her feet firmly, so she could only hear the sound of surfing. The golden lotus was wiped off, but it had already held onto the shelf to prevent it from falling, and it almost didn't drag the jade tower down. Yunyang said, "I said sixth sister didn't laugh well. She would just fall down." Looking at Li Jiar, everyone said, "The last thing you should do is laugh on the swing. If you laugh too much, your legs must be weak and you will fall down." When we were raising our daughters at home, there was a swing set up in the garden of Zhou Taiguan's house next door. It was also the March festival, and one day Miss Zhou and 3 or 4 other girls from his family were playing on the swing, and we couldn't help but laugh. Slide Miss Zhou down, right on the drawing board, and grab her body. If you marry someone later and are said to be not their daughter, they will banish you from the house. From now on, you must avoid laughing when playing on the swing. Jinlian said, "Ming Sen, if the child is not ready, wait until sisterly and I play on the swing." Yunyang said, "You do play carefully," but she taught Yuxiao and Chun Mai to push it aside. When they were about to be beaten, they saw Chen Jingji coming from outside and said, "You always play on the swing here." Yunyang said, "Brother-in-law is here just in time, and he has come to see off the children for your 2 mothers. The girl is very weak." The old monk Jingji did not ring the bell. He made a sound of failure, so he took a step forward, lifted his clothes, and said, "Wait for me to send you 2 mothers." He first took the golden lotus skirt and said, "5 mothers, stand still, son, send it off." The swing was flying in midair, like a flying fairy. When Li Ping'er saw the swing was up, she screamed strangely, "No, brother-in-law, please come and see me off too." Jingji said, "You are in a hurry when you arrive, please wait for me to take care of you slowly. In the future." He screamed here, screamed there, and made his son panic. So he lifted up Li Ping'er's skirt, exposing his red bottom shirt, and pushed him. Li Ping'er said, "Brother-in-law, take your time. My legs are weak." Jingji said, "You old man can't eat enough wine." Jinlian added, "Sisterly, you have pinched my skirt again." The 2 were hit halfway to the waist, and both fell down, but it was Chun Mai and sister Ximen who had a fight. Then, teach Yuxiao and Huilian to stand on the swing. This cymbidium is holding a colorful rope in its hands, standing upright, with its feet on the drawing board below, without anyone pushing it. The swing is flying in the clouds for a long time, and then suddenly flies down, but it is like a flying fairy, which is very inhumane. Like, when Yunyang saw it, she said to Yulu and Li Ping'er, "Look at my wife. She knows how to hit her." Here Yunyang and others are playing on the swings. The words are divided into two parts. Wanger, however, came back from Hangzhou to weave Master Kai's birthday clothes. He came home first with many boxes and cages on board. When I got to the front door, I got out of the doorway, collected and unloaded my luggage, and went to the back. I saw Zui bowing at the door of the hall, with a smile on her face. Zui said, "Okay, you're home. It's windy and hard on the road. We haven't seen each other for a while, and I'm so fat from eating." Lai Wangyan asked, "Where are my parents?" Zui said, "Your father was invited by two people to play outside today. Your aunt and eldest sister were playing on the swings in the garden," Lai Wanger said. "Ah, how serious is it to beat him?" Zui fell down. After having a cup of tea with him, he asked, "My wife is on the stove. Why haven't I seen her?" Zui sneered and said, "Is your wife still the same as she was then? Is she okay? He only plays chess, playing cards with his mother in the gang every day. He is willing to work on the stove." Just as he was talking, Xiao Yu walked to the garden and reported to Yun Yang. Yun Yang came from the front, and Lai Wanger kowtowed forward and stood beside her. After asking some questions on the way back, Yun Yang rewarded her with 2 bottles of wine. After eating for a while, his wife Song Huilian arrived. Yun Yang said, "Well, you've worked hard. Go to the room to wash your hair and face, and rest for the night. Wait for your father to come, so that you can see your father's reply." Then Wanger returned to the room. Huilian first paid the key and opened the door, then scooped some water for him to wash his face, and spread the dust, packed up his robes, and said, "You're a black prisoner. I haven't seen you for a long time, but you've eaten so much." Then she changed his clothes, arranged meals to eat with him. After a good sleep, it was already Japanese time when I woke up. When Simon King came home, Lai Wanger came up to see him and said, "The rulers made in Hangzhou for Master Kai's birthday, and the clothes at home are all ready." They were packed into packages, packed in for boxes, and brought home on the official ship. Only a few the hired man pays the tax. Simon King was filled with joy and exchanged some silver with him to load it into the city. Early tomorrow morning, he was also rewarded with 5 taels of silver and money spent in the house. He was also taught to take care of the comprador's things. Wanger had already brought some personnel with him, and quietly gave Sun Zue to square silk scarves, to flowered knee pants, for boxes of Hangzhou powder, and 20 rouge. Zue secretly told Lai Wanger, "It has been for months since you left. How has your wife been hooking up with Simon King? How has Yu Xiao taken the lead? And how has she made a nest in the Golden Lotus house? First at the bottom of the mountain, and behind at the bottom." In the house, he slept from dawn to dusk and slept until dawn. He took a big bag with him along with his clothes, jewelry, flowers, green money, and money. He asked the boy to buy things in front of the door, and he also spent 2 or 3 coins a day. "Silver," Lai Wang said. "There are clothes and jewelry in the weird box. I asked him and he said it belongs to my mother and him." Zue said, "What about my mother and him? It's my father and his." "Come here." Wanger listened and took it to heart. In the evening, after drinking for a few minutes, we returned to our room. As the saying goes, after drinking, I opened the box and saw a piece of blue satin with a very strange pattern. So I asked my wife, "Where is the satin? Who got it from you? Tell me the truth while you can." The wife didn't know what was going on. He smiled deliberately and replied, "Strange thief prisoner, why are you asking? I saw later that I didn't have a coat, so I took this piece of satin and put it in the box. I didn't have time to make it. Who is willing to carry it with me?" Lai Wang the son scolded. "Whore, what a mischief! Is that the one you are carrying?" He then asked, "Where did these jewelry come from?" The woman said, "Bah, it's my fault. That one has no mother. It's just a stone. It burst out from the thorn. There is also a nest. And you don't have any relatives? This is the hairpin comb borrowed from my aunt's family, who gave it to me." He was punched by Lai Wanger, and he barely escaped death. As soon as they met, he said, "You whore, you are just talking. Someone saw you and that unethical pig and dog having sex. Why did the girl Yu Xiao take the lead and send you a satin?" And the 2 of them had sex in the front garden, and they fell behind. It's no longer worth hanging in that prostitute's house and Pan's house all day long. You are a thief and whore, and you still want me to hang on for a while." The woman burst into tears and said, "The thief will die a good death. Why did you come to my house to beat me? What did I do to you? You don't care about your words. Even if you throw a brick, you want to know the whereabouts. You are the gossip. You have no idea. In vain. I instigated you to bully my mother? My mother is not that baseless thing. I will bully others to death and find a clean place. You ask, if the girl of the Song family stumbles a little, she will. The word song is reversed. You are a thief and a prisoner. If you can't get wind, you will get rain. All things must be real. If someone teaches you to kill that person, you will kill that person? What few words can Lai Wanger say? No more words. The woman added, "This piece of blue satin, as I have told you, was also Sunny Yang's birthday in November last year. She saw that I was wearing a purple coat and borrowed a jade flute skirt to wear it, and said, 'Daughter-in-law, the child is so thorny. What does it look like? You just gave me this piece of satin. Who has time to do it? I don't know. Just edit my tongue. You have mistaken me, and I am not a forgiving person. Tomorrow I will just curse and listen to him. It will cost me my life, and I will not be able to find my master." Lai Wanger said, "Since you have nothing to do with this, how can you get along with others? Hurry up and make a bed so I can sleep." The woman stretched out her bunk and said, "It's strange that you fell down the road. You ate that yellow soup and it gave you such a good sleep. You made me scold you for nothing." She flipped Lai Wang over on the king, snoring like thunder. The judge heard, as long as the mother-in-law who raises a man in the world, if she spares him a man's 18th degree of refinement and gives him a few right and wrong words, 9 out of 10 of them will be offended. Exactly, the bricks in Dongjingli are smelly and hard. Song Hua came to Wanger in the lotus nest and spent the night there. The next day, I asked Yuxiao who had revealed the incident, but I didn't know the reason and only focused on scolding her. One day, Yunyang asked Xiao Yu to call her Zui, but she couldn't find her anywhere. Walking to the front, I saw Zui coming out of Lai Wang's room. She only wanted to talk to his wife and didn't want to go to the kitchen. Huilian was cutting meat inside again. For a long time, Simon King stayed with Kiao Dahu in front to talk. Just for young Zhou. The salt merchant Wang Sifeng was imprisoned by the governor and was given 2,000 taels of silver. Simon King asked Kai Taishi for his release. Just as he was sending the rich man away, Simon King called Lai Wang, who ran out of his room. Exactly, the egrets and warblers are hidden in the snow until they are seen, and the parrots hidden in the willows are talking. From this we all know that Zui and Lai Wanger are related. One day, Lai Wanger got drunk and scolded Simon King with other family members in front of him, saying why I was not at home. He asked Yuxiao girl to take a piece of blue satin and coax my wife in the room. He was hung up in the garden and raped. And how did Pan Jinlian become the master of the nest later? Let him, as long as he doesn't hit my hand. I'll teach him how to use a white knife to go in and a red knife to come out. How about you? Let that whore from Pan's family be killed? Kill her. It's just death. You see what I can do. That prostitute of the Pan family thought that he would kill her husband Wu Da at home, and his brother-in-law Wu Song came to complain, thanks to someone who went to Tokyo to take care of him. Send Wu Song to the army. Today I stepped on Pingchuan Road, and he was used by him, and he also instigated my wife to support Han. My hatred with him has been growing forever. As the saying goes, if you don't do one thing, you will end up with the other. Don't stop talking until you get there. If you cut off his life, you'll beat the emperor. Now Lai Wanger knew that he was talking on the road and didn't know that there was someone in the grass. He didn't want to be heard by Lai Xing'er, his family member, who was traveling with him. Now Lai Xing'er was at home. Simon King originally sent his comprador to eat and write money to live by. But because of his collusion with Lai Wang's daughter-in-law, he took away the comprador and asked Lai Wanger to take charge of it. Lai Xing'er was at odds with Lai Wang. When he heard these words, he quietly came to Pan Jinlian's room to tell him. Jinlian was sitting with Meng Yulu when she saw Lai Xing'er lift the curtain and come in. Jinlian asked Lai Xing'er, "What brings you here? Whose house did your father go to have a drink with today?" Lai Xing said, Today my dad and Ying's second dad went to see the funeral outside. I have one thing to tell the old man. Just keep it in my heart. Don't say it's a small thing. Jin Lian said, if you have anything to do, just say it. It doesn't matter. Lai Xing'er said, nothing else, Lai Wanger. I don't know where to eat yesterday. I was very drunk. I didn't know where to eat yesterday. I was shouting in front of me. I pointed at pigs and scolded dogs for a whole day. I also fought with the little ones. The little one came and ignored him. He scolded his father and Wu Niang in front of the rest of the family. Pan Jinlian asked, why are you scolding me? Lai Xing said, the little one dare not say that. Sanyang is here, and she is no one else. The guy said how his father sent him away from home and tricked his wife. He said how Wen Yang was the master of the nest and made his wife sleep with him in the room until the whole night. He slept until dawn. He took down the knife to kill his father and Wu Niang. The white knife went in and the red knife came out. He also said Wu Niang was at home, and the poison was placed to kill her husband. Thanks to him, he went to Tokyo to take care of it and saved his life. Wen Yang's life. He said that Wen Yang would avenge his kindness and instigate his wife to support Han. The younger one is wearing green clothes and hugging Hai Yui. First, come and tell Wen Yang that sooner or later he will stop being plotted by that guy. Yulu heard this and put Rudy in the cold water basin. Generally, I was taken aback. Jin Lian refused to listen. After hearing this, his face turned red, his silver teeth shattered, and he cursed. This damn slave. I had no enmity with him in the past, but now his master wants his wife. How can he do it? Are you pestering me? If I teach this slave to stay at Simon King's house, I will never be considered my wife. How come I owe him for saving my life? Yin told Lai Xing'er, go ahead. When your father comes home to ask you, I just said it as you said, Lai Xing'er said. What did Wu Niang say? The younger one doesn't blame him. He just says it one by one, whatever dad asks. It's just what he said. After saying that, he went forward. Yulu then asked Jinlian, does his father really have a daughter-in-law? Jinlian said, ask that shameless guy. Even a good wife wouldn't be in vain to teach a slave to be blackmailed like this. I have used it before. The slave and whore was originally in Kai Tongpan's house, cheating with his eldest wife to support a man. But she got into trouble and was sent out to marry Zhang Kong. Not only have I seen a man, I have a handful of millet to count, and I don't know what's going on. The strong man concealed the truth and frightened the ghosts, and made Yuxiao give him satin to make a coat for him to wear. One winter, I want to tell you, but I didn't tell you. That day, the eldest sister went to Kiao Das house to have wine, and we always aren't you playing chess in front? I saw the girl said that her father was coming home, so why don't we leave? Behind me, I walked to the back of the door and saw Xiao Yu standing under the corridor. I asked him, and Xiao Yu looked at me and waved her hand. I just laughed. When I got to the garden, I saw Yuxiao standing at the corner gate, watching the wind for him. I didn't know it yet, so she told me to walk straight into the garden. Yuxiao stopped me and refused to let me in, saying that dad was inside. Teach me. I cursed a few words. I went to King to check his account, but I didn't want to go inside. He and his wife were working in the cave. When my wife saw me going in, she came out with a blushing face. His father saw him. I, the sarcastic one, had no shame even after I cursed a few words. The backward daughter-in-law came to the house, knelt down on me and taught me not to say anything to his mother. In the first month of the backward year, his father will entrust the adulteress to the house. Spend the night in my room, let me and Chun Mai exchange a few words, and let him stand next to me. The slave who has been killed by thieves, there is no way to drag me into it. Such a coquettish slave and whore, I am willing to let him do it in that room. Even I, Chun Mai, that little piece of meat, he won't let him. Yulu said, the angry thief's smelly meat is sitting there, seeing every thought of me. It seems like he can't afford it. But who knows that he has this account behind his back. Speaking of it, his father shouldn't want him. If he can't find a wife, what does it look like to teach his slaves to promote others outside? Jin Lian said, the leather boots on the left and right are not correct. If you want a slave wife, The slave secretly steals your little wife, and they alternate with each other. The slave who steals the little wife. Jin Yi talks about people. Wan Yi talks about them. Today I slapped my mouth. I won't tell you. Yulu said to Jinlian, should we tell his father about this Chun matter? Or not? Big sister doesn't care if that guy is really at ease. If we don't say anything, his father doesn't know what happened to him for a while. Sixth sister, you should tell me. Jinlian said, if I spare this slave, it will be unless he enters the sun and comes out of me. Exactly, if you don't frown in your life, there should be no gnashing of teeth in the world. When Simon King came home at night, he saw Jinlian in the room with her hair in disorder. She was sleeping with her cheeks wet, and her eyes were full of tears. When asked why, he recounted Lai Wanger's drunken speech and wanted to kill his master. Seeing that Lai Xing'er heard it in person, he thought about it. You carried the map to his wife, so he secretly wanted your little wife. Your skin the boots have not been corrected. You deserve to be killed. So what does it have to do with me? You will kill even me. Don't do it before it's too late. No matter what time of day or night, no one has the backside. They are only afraid of being poisoned by him secretly. Simon King Yin asked, who is related to that guy? Jin Lian said, don't ask me. Just ask Xiao Yu. Then he said, this slave bullied me. It's not the first time. Tell me how I used medicine to show off killing man. You married me because he was looking for a favor to save my life. You can tie people up outside. The slave has not given birth to a son or a daughter. If you give birth to a child, how about teaching the thieves and slaves to tie up the tie? Dare to say, when your mother had no land at home, it was thanks to me that she saved his life by looking for favors. What you say will bring shame on your face. You have no shame, but I can't do it. I want to do this. What? Simon King listened to the woman's words, walked forward, asked Lai Xing'er to go to a deserted place, and asked him the reason. The boy said it all over and over again. Then he walked to the back and asked what Xiao Yu said, which was exactly what Jinlian said. One day, I saw Zui coming out of Lai Wanger's house, but his wife was not in the house, so this happened. Simon King was so angry that he beat Sun Zui, but Junyang repeatedly persuaded him. She took off his head, face and clothes, and told him to accompany his family's wife to the stove, and he was not allowed to see anyone else. This matter is out of the question. Simon King was behind and called Song Huilian because of his jade flute, and asked him in person behind his back. The woman then said, oh dad, you old man didn't say that. He didn't say that. I made a big bet for him. He drank for 2 minutes. How dare he be so bold as to scold dad behind his back? He also eats King Zhou's water and soil, and says that King Zhou is immoral. Where does he live? Dad, don't listen to other people's words. Let me ask Dad. Who did you hear saying this? Simon King was speechless by the mother-in-law. She asked anxiously and said, Lai Xing'er told me. Huilian said, Lai Xing'er asked me to be a comprador because my father said that every time I took something from him, I couldn't make some money to make a fortune. This hateful boy, even if you spit this blood on him, Dad will believe him. If he does this deception, I won't forgive him. Dad, please obey me and don't teach him how to teach him a few tales of silver at home. He was convinced and stayed away from his hometown to do business. It will be easier for Dad to talk to me sooner or later if he goes out. After hearing this, Simon King was filled with joy and said, my son, what you said is true. I have a heart. We want him to go to Tokyo to make a favor with the silk merchant Wang Zifeng and Grandmaster Kai. When he comes back, we have to escort him to the birthday party because he just came from Hangzhou. It's not good and he has to pay the bill and call him to come and go. Since you are like this, he said, I will send him to go to work tomorrow. When he comes back, I will teach him how to get 1,000 taels of silver and go to Hangzhou with his supervisor to buy silk threads for business. What do you think? The wife was overjoyed and said, Dad, if you wait like this, that's good. Just as he was saying this, Simon King saw no one, so he hugged him and kissed him. The mother-in-law quickly put her tongue in his mouth, and they smacked together. The woman said, Dad, you allowed me to braid my hair in a bun, But why didn't you braid it for me? How long will it take you to wear it? Are you just going to teach me to wear this bun all the time? Simon King said, It doesn't matter. Tomorrow I will bring 8 taels of silver to the silversmith's house to pull the wire for you. Simon King said again, I'm afraid your aunt will ask, so how can I answer? The woman said, It doesn't matter, I have something to say to him. Just ask me. I borrowed it from my aunt's family. What are you afraid of? The two of them talked for a while and then dispersed. The next day, Simon King was sitting in the hall and called Wanger over, Pack your clothes and luggage. Get up in time for March 28th tomorrow. And go to Tokyo to pay favors to Grandmaster Kai. When you come back, I will also send you to Hangzhou to do business. Lai Wang was overjoyed and promised to come down, go back to his room, pack his luggage, and go shopping for personnel. Lai Xing'er inquired and found out, so he came to report to Jin Lian. Jin Lian asked about Simon King being in the garden shed. When he walked there, he didn't see Simon King, only Chen Jingji sealing gifts there. Jin Lian asked, Where is your father? What is your seal? Jingji said, Dad was here just now, and went to exchange the silver from the salt merchant Wang Sifeng with my aunt. The seal I gave as a gift to the Grand Master of Central Kai in Tokyo. Jin Lian asked, Who are you sending? Jingji said, I heard my father told Lai Wanger to go yesterday. Jin Lian had just stepped off the platform and walked towards the garden, when he saw Simon King coming in with some silver, called into the room. He asked him, Who will be sent to Tokyo tomorrow? Simon King said, Lai Wanger and Director Wu will go together. Because there is 1,000 silver taels from the salt merchant Wang Sifeng, a clerk, so I have to more go. The woman said, It's up to you. You won't listen to what I say until you listen to the words of that slave whore. He will ask what's wrong and only protect his man. That slave has something to say first. Not just one person. The day has come. I left you with my wife lying around, cheated you of your money, and took it off again and again, looking at my brother with empty eyes. It's just a waste of your money. It's hard to do anything for others. I'm not afraid that you won't compensate him for 2 pieces of silver. I say that in your heart. It's up to you. My wife is just for him for no reason. I don't want you to be greedy for his wife. It's not good for you to keep him at home, and it's not good for you to send him out to do business. Okay, if you keep him at home, you won't have these eyes to guard against him sooner or later. If you send him out, he will use your capital. The first thing you can't do is to talk to him. If you want a slave wife, you might as well send him away first. Leave home. As the saying goes, if you don't remove the roots by cutting the grass, the sprouts will still grow. If you cut the grass by removing the roots, the sprouts will never grow again. Even if you don't worry about it, your wife will be dead set on you. After talking, Simon King woke up from a drunken state. Exactly, a few words clear the way for a gentleman, and a few words remind the dreamer.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.